Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm ShadowFoxxie. Hope you're having a great day, morning, evening, afternoon, or wherever you are. In this video we talk about 10 things you may not know about the UK. First thing is that we do not tip, and I'm not saying like everywhere like we don't tip, because if you go to like probably like posh places we probably would like tip there, but again it's optional. But majority of places you will go to here you do not have to tip, and you don't have to tip because never really done that. It's just basically an optional thing. If you want to tip, fine. But I mean, it's not like America and places where you have to tip. We just do not have to tip at all. An optional thing, but we just do not tip. We've just never really done that. And a lot of people are the same. We just buy our food from like restaurants or whatever. Or, we just don't give the tip to it. We just never have done. And it's just continued on to this day. I mean, I don't know how long it's been going on for, but I mean, I assume that it's been quite some time, but we just don't tip over. Obviously, a lot said unless it's actually a really posh restaurant, then maybe, but it's just one thing we don't do. Second thing is food names. And yes, we obviously, I guess a few of you know we got some really rude food names. We got Spotted Dick, Toad in a Hole. I won't go into all of them, but there are some really peculiar names. One of them, which I would say, I'm not going to say the word because it's controversial, but it's a food name that, let's just say, it can be offensive in a lot of countries, especially America, but then it's a double meaning over here because it's a food name and offensive if you out of context. You have to be precise. I'm not going to say that because the trouble. But also things like America and a lot of other countries, or quite a few other countries, say it as zucchini. Whereas here, we don't call it zucchini, courgette, which is also a French for courgette. Courgette is actually French. Um, Also, things like eggplant, we do not call it eggplant, we call it an aubergine. It's not spelled an O, it's spelled an A, by the way. But an aubergine is basically what we call a eggplant over here. Um, there are a lot of other ones I'm probably go through. Obviously, things like chips, you can call them chips. That's what they do, like America or Canada. Canada, Canada have both names, but like America and stuff obviously call it chips. We call them crisps. But then our version of chips is actually what you call fries. But then saying that, our thin fries, thin chips are called fries. They're really, really thin ones, quite thin. Um, Also, there are a lot of other ones I can go through, but I mean, I'll be here for time. But that's just quite a few of them that we actually don't call them that name. But if you want me to do other videos on names of that, fine. I'll go through like names and stuff and try and figure out what names different countries call them, and then we can like go through them. It's fine. The next one is different words or unusual words for toilets. Or now this sounds kind of weird, I know. I mean, obviously, America, bathroom, restrooms. We don't really say restrooms. Well, we say bathroom, but I mean, bathroom is obviously with the toilet, the bathroom, or the bath itself, sinks or wash basin, all that. But it's basically within the whole room itself. Obviously, if you go to toilet in like a restaurant or a cafe, then we go into a toilet or whatever. But basically, toilets are things like toilets. We say lavatory, we say shitter, yes, shitter. We say bog, we say loo. And also things like for toilet paper, we say toilet paper. Toilet tissue is quite uncommon, but we still do say that very often. We say loo paper, which is not as common. We say lavatory paper, which is old school saying, but we still say that sometimes. But the most common one we actually say over here is actually bog roll. But yeah, if you want to say those words are controversial, especially shitter, then yeah, shitter is actually fairly common depending where you are in like England or Scotland, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's actually some of the unusual words we actually say over here. There are some other words, but that's actually the most common ones anyway. So the next one is trousers. Now, yes, I know a lot of people in America think about trousers, or a lot of other countries actually don't know what trousers are. But trousers generally, they're basically what Americans call pants, or a lot of other places in the world they call pants. Yeah, if you actually come over to England, or even Scotland, Wales, or even Northern Ireland, um, you'll probably get, if you actually ask for like pants, you actually probably get like taken like the underwear, because a lot of the things we call pants are underwear. Boxer shorts or boxers are still underwear, but we don't really class them as pants. We class them as shorts, whatever. But just they are still underwear. But yeah, I mean, like I said, pants are basically known as trousers, unless obviously we still say trousers, things like jeans, but we still class them as jeans, but we still say they're actually trousers. But we do say things like yoga pants, but they're more on the term of leggings than anything else. But we still say yoga pants, but I mean, it's still under the term of trousers. But yeah, I mean, you actually do come over from like say a place like America, and you actually do go to a like clothes shop and ask for, like I said, pants, you probably won't get one place at the right place. And I would say as well, say someone, oh, you have nice pants, you probably get a dirty look. Say, how do you know what I'm wearing? Like I said, it's underwear, and yeah, be careful if you come over and actually say about underwear, because pants might get a different look than you think. The next one is we have a lot of castles. Imagine, obviously, look back in medieval times, all that. There's a lot of castles. We got places, obviously, Southampton, that's where I'm from. There's a lot of castles around here. You got Bargate Castle, you got the city walls, you got the pub. It's all basically within the same sort of castle, but there's like city walls, you got the Bargate Castle, like that. You got places obviously in Portsmouth, not just off Portsmouth, you got a place like Portchester Castle, you got um places obviously around Scotland that got castles. You got a lot of places around sort of London as castle places. You got places in Wales which had castles. A lot of places obviously within England itself. I could go through a lot of places, but if you go to the British Heritage website, you can see where a lot of castles are. Be interested in that, but we do have loads and loads of castles. Um, but yeah, there's a hell of a castle. I can go through the castles forever, but there's I probably even know how many castles there are. It's like hundreds castles, maybe thousands. I don't know about thousands, but I mean, there's a hell of a lot of castles, and it's definitely worth looking at if you were. Hershey's. Now, a lot of you Americans saying Hershey. Why Hershey? Well, I did actually hear that America is not very common on Cadbury's. I mean, apparently they're actually over America, and they're not really that common. But Cadbury's is very common over here, especially with a lot of the products we do. And a lot of the Americans probably don't think we do Hershey's, but in fact we do. And much as we say it's not very common over here, it's not common, but we do have it in a lot of shops over here, and not really bought as much as what Cadbury's is. Unlike America, it's the opposite way round. But we do have things like the Hershey's chocolate bar. We have things like the Hershey's Kisses, and it's not really popular over here. I mean, I've tried them before, and I actually think they're quite nice. personally. Everyone else is that if I'm mistaken and everyone else has tried them, they actually prefer it over here. Fine, but I mean, a lot of people actually have known and I've actually things I've found out about Parashi's country, both in England and Scotland, not just obviously. There's a lot of other places. It's just not that common for now. I know Cadbury's a lot more common over here, but we do have some of the stuff with Parachute over here, and I think it's quite nice. Really, that's why I thought I'd add Harris's in as well. But it's not as common as Cadbury's. Next one is capital cities. Now you're thinking capital cities, yeah. A lot of people, especially people in America, I know that don't know much about itself. People class UK as a country, not a country. UK is actually in there. I don't talk now. It's actually a sovereign state of Europe, independent sovereign state of Europe. I don't think it's a sovereign state of Europe. Well, technically, it's a state of Europe because obviously Brexit. Technically, we're not part of Europe because we're out of the EU, but technically we are still part of Europe. But the UK is not a country. It's actually four countries in one place, and you've got Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and obviously. And yes, I'm saying Northern Ireland because the Republic of Ireland itself are not part of UK. Northern Ireland is, and the capital city of Northern Ireland is actually Belfast. The capital city of Scotland is actually Edinburgh. The capital city of Wales is Cardiff, and obviously England, London. So those of you obviously thought London was the capital city, kind of there isn't actually. It's probably the biggest. It's definitely the biggest city, I guess, within like UK. Or a lot of you probably say, okay, yeah, London is the capital, but we don't really class that as the capital. Obviously, all countries. I could like say like obviously look at the crown dependencies. Obviously, got they're not part of UK generally because they're actually just crown dependencies, not part of a lot of England for that. Basically, what I mean, they're still part of the crown dependencies. Obviously, they're still part of the British Empire. It's not actually being much anymore, but crown dependencies obviously things it's kind of not necessarily owned by us because they're still like sort of independent in some way, but they're just crown dependencies obviously because they have the monarch and you know I don't really look much in detail, but I know they're not obviously generally owned by us in some way, but you obviously got things like Jersey and Guernsey, Gibraltar, Falkland Islands, all that. They're not necessarily run by us because they obviously got their own sort of affairs and like their own sort of governments. Not exactly owned by us in any way. The Crown dependency. If I'm wrong, correct me, but they're not actually owned by us anyway because they actually run by themselves, and you know we don't actually hear much about what goes on in those places. Whereas you look at Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England, etc., we hear a lot about what goes on, and we don't really hear about what goes on unless it's like a terrible thing. But we don't hear much about those places. Just an overseas territory, which basically that's what I mean. Not but in Jersey and Guernsey are a really good place as well. They're actually located just off the coast of Cherbourg, which is actually in France. And yes, they have French-speaking language there, which I will come to that later. Languages. The next one is Mother's Day. And Mother's Day is kind of a weird one for a lot of you because we actually have our Mother's Day here in March. It's usually the second or third Sunday in March. But I know a lot of people, again, America, have theirs in May. Spain, I believe, have theirs in June. I could be wrong. I've looked at it once, but I can't remember exactly. Yeah, Spain have those have theirs in June, and there's a few other countries that have them moved around a bit. I know America has theirs in May, Eve, and ours actually in March. Kind of weird because Father's Day is actually the same as America over here. Actually, in June. Yeah, I mean Mother's Day is kind of different. Why? You kind of I reckon it's the same. But next one is we have more than one language. Yes, you might think English is the only language you have. Yeah, I mean Latin is a dead language. Not have a few people speak the Latin language. I mean, it's not very common. And I don't mean Latin as in Latin American language, because that's Spanish and Portuguese. I'm not talking about that language, about the old Latin language itself. Like, obviously, way back in the Roman Empire time or the Anglo-Saxon time, it was more Latin that way. But no, we've got English, basically most common. Obviously, we've got Welsh language, which is mostly spoken in Welsh, or Wales basically. You obviously got the Scottish language, and have the Northern Irish language, which is mostly Irish. But majority of obviously the language spoken like Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland is actually Gaelic. And obviously, that does actually count for the Republic of itself, but they're not part of it. Not that, but we all recognise Ireland in it as well because part of that same. Talk about Gaelic as well. Cornwall have got that sort of Gaelic language there, but they actually have their own sort of language and some the Cornish language, not separate from England as such. But yeah, they have a Cornish language. It could be yeah. If you actually do think I'm wrong by this, no, but I do believe they have a Gaelic sort of, background to it as well. But yeah, and as far as a French language, we don't have a French language itself. But like I said, Jersey and Guernsey, they're close to France, but they're not actually part of the UK. Such they're just a crown dependency, basically like an overseas territory. They do have a French language there, so yeah, I've been to Jersey quite a few times, so I know that. And but yeah, well, I'll just say that as well. But next one we actually have on the list is actually accents. Now I know a lot of you actually say there's one accent, like London or like London accent or Cockney accent. There's a lot of accents. There's more than hundreds of accents. Wherever you basically you walk out your road, like go to the next city or even towns, not just like cities, you had next towns or even like that road, you'll find different accents. You got like obviously Southampton accent, you got place like London accent, got like Birmingham accent, got Cornish accent, Devon accent, places like Dover accent, got places like West Sussex accent or Norfolk accent, Geordie accent, well if you didn't know, Yorkshire accent, Scouse accent with Liverpool, Mancunian Mancunian accent, which is Manchester, Blackpool accent. Got even like accents in Scotland, obviously, like Glaswegian accent. Got place in Cardiff. You got Cardiff, obviously Wales. You got loads of accents. Even their own like language, obviously mixing different sort of style with their accent. You got Northern Irish accent. I could go obviously through a lot of accents myself, but I'm not going through accents. There's a lot of accents in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So yeah, I mean, a lot of you that obviously think there is actually one or two accents, one accent. So I thought I'd just say that something different, obviously for videos. But I did actually a lot of people like in America or a lot of people even not in America, a place like Canada or even Australia, New Zealand maybe. They actually think there's one or two accents. There's actually a lot of different accents and even pronunciations of cities, which a lot of views different. But if you want to like hear some like pronunciations of city name or something like that, or even more videos like this, let me know in the comments. And also, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, and watching. Ah.